And welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today on this webinar. This happens to be one of the most loved and most, how can I say, um, one of my favorite, if I can say. It's not the right word probably, but one of those very, very meaningful journeys that I have had both as a client and as a therapist, as a facilitator, is through family constellation. So today's topic is very close to my heart, and it gives me immense pleasure to bring more about this topic to you, to share it with you. I had been very lucky in very early years of when I started my journey with mind sciences. I was introduced to this modality. And I find it very, very interesting. And I believe I'm very blessed that I can, even take it forward. I can talk to you and keep it going. So I can see many people who I know who is on the participants list, and there are some people that I do not know. And I'm aware this, I think, is being put on Facebook as well. So for people who do not know me, I will just take you through a very short introduction of myself. My name is Arpita, and I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I'm a family constellation facilitator and a transpersonal regression therapist. I practice at Illuminations in Dubai. And this is what I call the second innings of my career. Uh, the first innings, and that also I hold very dearly to my heart. I studied economics. I'm an MBA, and I worked in the corporate sector for more than 15 years. And then I was introduced to the field of holistic healing, mind sciences, and I made a transition from the corporate world into mind sciences, into holistic healing, into therapy, into facilitation. I live in Dubai. My family is in Dubai. I'm a mother of twins. So when I'm not working with my clients, which I work globally across countries, if I'm not working with them, help them through their journey, unlocking their blocks, their recurring patterns, then I am either spending time with my family, with my twins, with my dogs. So that's about me in a nutshell. As I said, this is my plan for today. This is what I want you to want to take you through, understanding a modality that is, as I said, very, very close to my heart. And the topic we chose today is about understanding our blocks, our patterns, which most of us sometimes are even able to, put our fingers on and say, this is what I struggle with, or this is what has been my pattern. But today we're going to talk about these blocks and patterns, and what kind of resolution, what kind of modality in terms of family constellations can, the resolution that this modality can bring to you. For people who are completely new to this modality, and I think of my, few years back when I didn't know and I didn't understand what exactly this is, let me say this is an extremely experiential journey. So I urge and I request each one of you to at least sometime attend a workshop to feel, because it is experiential. However, from my experience, I've collected a few or most frequently asked questions on family constellations. I've put them together. So I'm going to take you through that. And then I will open it up for question and answers, because I believe the more we discuss, the more questions are put forward, it will be a good space for us to, take back what we want to take back. Now, in terms of the technicalities, let me just check. Yeah, I think the chat is enabled. So if you have any questions, if you feel there's an urge to stop me, please do that. I'm completely okay with you raising a question. So please type it in the chat box. I will stop and I will answer it then and there. Because sometimes what happens if you keep it till the end, though I will keep time for question and answers, we can lose track of it, or we just lose the focus of it. So it's completely okay if you stop me and ask me any questions. Okay, I will check on that note if there's anything on the chat. Doesn't look like. And I will also check if there are any hands that are Present for any questions? No. Okay. I think we are good to go. I hope I'm visible. I hope my presentation is visible, and I hope I'm audible as well. In case any issues, I'm going to keep the chat box in the, okay, no. I'm just going to minimize it. Just let me know. Okay. So coming to what we are talking about, our blocks, our patterns, that is the theme for us. Now, what I have put together is coming from my journey as a facilitator, my journey as a therapist, and what I see as what most people say, that I have certain blocks or certain recurring patterns in certain aspects of my life. Now, I have categorized it into broadly the ones that you see in the picture here. First and foremost, very, very common is a block or a recurring pattern or a relationship related to money. Now, I'm going to separate money, success, and abundance, because these things can mean very different things to different people. So, what could be blocks or patterns related to money? It could be simple things like I cannot earn money, like I work very hard, but no matter what I do, I never have sufficient money. It could be I can earn money, but money doesn't stay with me. For whatever reason, I lose that money. Now, this is separate from when we talk about success, about getting ahead in life. Some people will say that I have the money and I can earn money and I can save money, but the problem is success doesn't come to me. How I define my success in terms of the roles that I play, in terms of the job I do, it doesn't come to me. And there is no logical reason behind it. We then talk of other blocks in terms of relationships, major block in terms of relationships. Just going to check if there's a question. Like having harmonious, having happy relationships, having finding the right people, maintaining those relationships, so on and so forth. Where else do we find blocks? In attracting the right things into our life, whatever we want to call as our abundance. So it could be any of these, or it could be, attracting love, attracting the right partner. Sometimes when we have relationships, we have partners, we have our families, yet there is something missing. So I have put this up. This is not an exhaustive list of all the blocks and patterns, but this is just to give you an idea in terms of what are the major blocks. Now, I want you to look at them. I want you to check if you resonate with any of them, or if there's completely a different kind of a block or a pattern that you have identified for yourself. Keep it to you, and we will come back and we will talk about, and I will give a few examples in terms of this modality and how we work through it. So if I put this into words, these are what I mostly see in terms of, for example, painful family situations that we struggle with. Like there is a pattern in the family, there's a block in the family, and that probably is going through many generations, and yet we are not able to, find an answer to it. It could be with money, like do you find it difficult to attract money? Maybe you have the money, are you struggling to get ahead in your career? And it could be a mix of all these as well. It could be, are you not able to attract or maintain harmonious relationships? Another recurring pattern is of working hard, gaining success, gaining money, and then a pattern of when I gain everything, I kind of lose it. In terms of relationships, most common, I attract the same kind of partners and I just can't seem to break this pattern. Or I attract people with that same trait that I so dislike. I don't know why that I don't find other people who do not have that particular trait. Or are we attracting experiences of abandonment? It could be neglect, it could be dominance, it could be anything. And if you find it difficult to find love, these are again what was top of my mind when I was making this presentation. As I said, each one of us may resonate with any of these, or we may have our own identified patterns as well. So and most of us will be very much aware of it. Even if we take a few minutes, quiet moments to think about it, we will know what has been the pattern in my life. Now that brings us to the topic of today in terms of the modality. As I say, this is very, very close to my heart. And that is because I have reaped benefits of this modality as a client, as well as when I work as a facilitator now, and I see the changes and the shifts that happen. So when we talk of family constellations, we are talking of a very unique modality. Why I say this is unique is because this is one modality that is focused, as we say, it is a solution focused modality. It is focused on solutions. Now, many of you have experienced other modalities as well, and I practice them as well. This is not a comparison, but this is to just show a difference between the other modalities where we begin with the problem. We are problem centric. We start with the problem and we go to a resolution. Vis-a-vis, this modality is completely focused. The only focus is on the resolution, on the solution. Now, there's another reason why I call it, it's very unique is, for example, when we say we work with holistic sciences, what does the word holistic mean? It means that we are just not our physical bodies. We have a mind, we have a spirit, and we have a body. Now, family constellation takes this concept to a completely different level. The concept of wholeness, when we talk in family constellations, is just not about me, my experiences, my mind. Here we are talking of impact of incidents, trauma, occurrences, exclusions at the level of many, many generations. So this is multi-generational in its nature, and the wholesomeness that we are talking about, it is just not about me, it is about an extended system to which I belong. And that's what I will get into explaining in more details. What is this multi-generational transference that happens? How can we tap into it, and how can we reveal the dynamics, the hidden dynamics that are keeping us bound in forms of blocks or in forms of any recurring pattern for that matter. It's a very intriguing field of work. I personally believe so. And this is a modality which is a space of very profound healing. It's also a modality where the presence of your conscious mind is not required. To an extent, sometimes even your own physical presence may not be a mandate for you to reap the benefits of family constellations. And this happens to be a very, very new modality. When I say new, this was developed and it's been around since the 1970s. So it's not like other modalities of holistic sciences or other modalities of psychology or psychoanalysis, which has existed in our domain for many, many years. This is actually very, very new. If I have to talk more about family constellations, the first thing to mention is that this modality was developed by Bert Hellinger. He was a German psychotherapist. He's the one who has developed this modality. Now, Bert Hellinger never claimed that he coined the term family constellations, but definitely facilitators like me, we owe our knowledge and our understanding to his research, application of that research, and formulating and developing this modality, what we today know as family constellations. Bert Hellinger is from Germany. He was born, he's got a very interesting life. So if you're interested later, maybe you can just Google and learn more about him. Just to give you a brief, he was born in Germany during the time of the World Wars. He was ordained as a priest. He lived as a missionary in South Africa for a very long time. And many tenets of family constellation actually comes from his understanding of the influence of the culture of the Zulu tribe in Africa. And through his experience and his focus has been, another way of saying it is how he has developed this modality. It's based on a term, a word, and again, this is something you may want to look at it later. And if any of you are interested to know more details, I'm not getting into technicalities right now. It's called phenomenology. Phenomenology is recognizing the essential elements of any system, of any situation, without three things: without any intention to solve it, without any fear that is around it, or without any individual perception. So it is actually the study, this line of work is a study of a very subjective experience. Bert Hellinger brought about the concept of what we call as systems. Now, there are so many systems. As you see, a family is a system, an organization where we work is a system, communities where we belong is also systems, and so is countries. Now, if you look at the characteristics of systems, for example, look at our bodies. In our physical bodies, we have so many systems that are working for us, right? We have the circulatory system, we have the respiratory system. Now, what is common? What is common is there is a function and there is a boundary to that system, and our organs, our tissues, our cells of that system belongs and works in tandem. Yes, these systems also interact with other systems in the body. Similarly, look at your environment, look at yourself as being part of a system. That's the most basic understanding when we are going deeper into understanding this modality of family constellations. So according to Bert Hellinger and according to many other researchers who work in epigenetics or who are looking at morphic resonance, they believe that what is the system? The system is, or the constellation, what is this? This is a formation. This he defines as the energy field that connects members and holds them together. So right now in this webinar, we are also held together because we belong to a system. So for this 1 hour that we are going to spend with each other, there's an energy field that is connecting us. We are, for example, exchanging information. And imagine if there is somebody from the outside who would step into our webinar, who would connect to us, would also become part of the system and tap into, in a similar way, the information that is being shared, the discussions that are happening. So this systemic view forms the basis of what we call as family constellations. Now, I will keep it very simple, but Hellinger, again, he believes, and his entire work is based on the fact that these systems can be in harmony with the members that are there, or there can be times when these systems go out of balance. How do we know when a system is in balance and when it is not? There are certain principles that he talks about. When these principles, there are actually just 3 principles, when these 3 principles are being followed by the members, are in accordance, there is balance. Now, for any reason, if one or more of these principles go out of balance, the system goes into imbalance. So I will come in the next slide talking more about it. Before I go into the principles, I'm just quickly going to check the chat. No, doesn't look like there's any questions. So yeah, I know it is very different from most of the webinars or most of the things that we talk about. So please feel free to stop me if I'm going fast or if you need any clarifications. So coming back to principles, the first principle is the need to belong. Now, when I say the need to belong, it comes from a very basic premise that each one of us who is alive, who is living, or just take us, like the 20-25 people in this webinar, we all belong to our family. When I say family, I mean the family of origin. And that's a very safe statement to say, because of course I am born, and if I am born, it means I have parents. And if I have parents, which means I have family, which means there is a belonging right from the moment we are in our mother's womb. We are already a part of a system. Now, the principle says that each member of a system, each member of a family, we belong equally. It doesn't matter whether we are together and our subjective experience of life is very good. So for example, I have an excellent rapport with my parents and hence I belong, vis-a-vis someone who doesn't see eye to eye with parents and I don't belong. No, that's not true. Irrespective of how we relate to our parents, to our grandparents, to our extended family, the fact still remains that we belong. Each person belongs and each person belongs equally. This holds even true for people who are not alive. For example, any deaths in the family doesn't mean that that position is gone. So, miscarriages, abortions, stillborns, losing a child very young in the family, suicides, murders, whichever way death has occurred doesn't mean that that person doesn't belong. And many a times when that sense is in there, we do see an imbalance. I will come and give examples for each one of them for you to understand. So first, we belong, and we belong absolutely 100% equally, irrespective whether someone is dead or someone is alive. Second principle is the need for order. When I say order, I am here referring to hierarchy, chronological hierarchy. As you see in the picture here, this is a picture of a family tree, which means not only do we belong to our families, but there is a hierarchy, like how you would draw your organization charts. We draw our family trees, and there are people who have come before us, and there will be people who come after us. Hierarchy means our grandparents, for example, come first, then come our parents, and then us. So our parents are bigger and they're higher up in the hierarchy vis-a-vis our children who are smaller and down the line. This is how life flows to us. So if at any point of time we are denying the hierarchy, or we are trying to be bigger than somebody who is actually bigger than us, in essence what we are doing is we are rejecting life. We are rejecting the flow of that unconditional love that comes from our ancestors down to us. Each one of us, we are children of our families. Now, it doesn't matter how old I am or how old you are. We can be even 80 years old, but we still remain children of someone, and they remain children of someone else. So that's the second principle, maintaining the hierarchy, maintaining the order in chronological, age-wise. And the third and the last principle is the need for balance. Now, balance means, like, imagine if we belong to a system, if we belong to a group, it is only natural that there has to be a give and take. So here we are talking about equilibrium. How does a group, a family, or a system maintain that equilibrium? It's only when I give you little and you give me little more. And then when I receive from you little more, I give you little more. This is the basic foundation of our give and takes. Now, if we are part of a system, if we are part of a family, if we are part of a community where these three elements, these three principles are adhered to, we will undoubtedly be in a position where we enjoy harmonious relationships, we are able to attract money and abundance and success, all of that. Now, when one of these principles go out of balance, when I mean they go out of balance is, let me give you an example. Imagine there is a chandelier, you know how we have our lights in our houses. So imagine there's a multi-layered chandelier, and each bulb or that each holder for the candles has a definite space. Now, if one of those holders or one of those bulbs are not there, so there's a gap, the chandelier will tilt, which means somebody has to compensate for that tilt, for that movement. This is what we call as entanglements, or we call as blocks or patterns. Now, mostly what happens is if the need for hierarchy is broken, if the sense of belonging is broken by any layer in that chandelier, mostly it is the children of the families, or it is the new generations that are coming, somebody will try to rebalance it. Somebody will try to overcompensate and bring the balance back. So ideally, chandelier should be standing very centered, hanging very centered. If it is not, mostly and unconsciously, completely unconsciously, nobody takes up a block or a pattern out of choice. We do it, and each one of us do it out of pure love and loyalty towards our system, towards our belonging, towards our ancestors. We, as children of a system, we try to bring back balance, and in trying to do so, what we face is what in family constellations we call this as entanglements. In simple words, we are calling these as, and how entanglements show up is what we are talking about today, about the patterns that I have, about the blocks that I feel as a person, or even as as a member of the group. Let me give you maybe one or two examples to explain, you know, what are these entanglements, and how do we spot it, and how do we work through with family constellations. So I had one person who came in, and his presenting issue was that, you know, I am there's nothing working for me in life. It's almost like I'm not alive. So blocks at all level. So I am trying to attract a good relationship. It's not happening. My career is not going anywhere. I am due for a promotion. I'm not getting it. It's like, you know, life has kind of shut me up from all sides. So when we did the constellation, what came up is, again, so this is an example of where the first law, the belonging, has gone for a toss. So in the constellation, it showed that the mother of this gentleman, she had a missing sibling. So it was a missing sibling before her. It was a miscarriage. And that position, that unborn child has gone missing. So this is what we call as an exclusion. Now, exclusion doesn't mean that somebody is being bad and excluding something. Sometimes we exclude our unborn babies, our miscarriages or abortions, our stillborn kids, just purely out of pain. Because it's painful, we kind of bury it, nobody talks about it. And of course, then the next generations don't even know about it. Now, from a day-to-day point of view, we understand, you know, this is how we cope, we move on in life. However, from a systemic view, there is one element, remember from the chandelier, there's like one block that has gone missing. So the client of mine who I'm talking about, he was entangled with the missing dead uncle or aunt, the child that was never born. And when you're entangled with somebody who is dead, who's not alive, obviously he is exhibiting every symptom of lifelessness. Now, many a times these exclusions are not even known. So it's not that people know about this miscarriage or this abortion or a missing child in the family. Sometimes we don't even know. There's something called as chimera twins. There's a syndrome wherein, you know, well, research says that 30 to 40% of pregnancies are twin or multiple pregnancies. But by the time, you know, we go to the doctor and we figure out one life is not there. So many a times even parents do not know that there was another child. But constellation will always show that. Constellation will bring out that missing element. When that missing element is acknowledged, the symptom bearer, who is a child of that family, is able to release that symptom. So that person doesn't remain lifeless. The person is then able to have relationships, overcome the blocks. So that's an example of when one of the laws is broken. As I move forward, I'm happy to give you more explanations, but I'm more interested also to tell you how it works. I'm again going to check quickly if there are any questions on the chat. No, you all are very, very silent. As I said, please feel free to ask any questions at any time. If not, I will move ahead. So as we said earlier, that this is solution focused. So we go straight away at looking at what the constellation shows, constellation will definitely show all these hidden dynamics, which we may be, in most cases, we are not consciously aware of. This is, as I said, this is not with the conscious, with the subconscious mind. This is not a mind science modality. The mind doesn't work. The presence of the mind is not required. This is a very, very deep healing at the level of the soul. And it does then reveal hidden dynamics in families. Now, I have mostly spoken about families of origin, but this also equally equates to our current families. I mean, our own families, our spouses, our children, the families that we are married into. So when we get married, we also become part of another system. So we are at any given point of time members of different systems, and we may feel that I need to focus on this area, but many a times constellation will reveal and maybe the issue of whatever that exclusion is could come from any other part. This is a modality we also actually use a lot in the corporate sector. Of course, it's not family constellations, we call it systemic. Same rules apply about, belonging to an organization, to the hierarchy of an organization, and the contribution, what we bring into the system. Maybe that's for another day to discuss. Coming back to, I'm aware there are a few participants who have experienced constellation, but there are many who haven't. So I will try my best to explain how it works, because it is actually very incredible and very magical. And as I say, it's very experiential. So I would urge you to experience it someday. But how does it work is, it can work in two ways. We could do a constellation as part of a group, or we could do constellation on a one-on-one level. I'm assuming there is no other questions on how it works. Okay. So I will first explain how it works in groups, and then I will explain about the one-on-one. So what happens generally in a constellation workshop or a group is that we will have a facilitator, and we will have a group of people, say 10 people in the group. Each person would have their own areas of concern that they would want to work on. So imagine one person would come up, and this facilitator would then discuss the issue, whatever the person wants to share. Now, this sharing or this case taking that we are talking of in family constellations, we do not focus on anything except facts. So we are going to look at what is the issue person wants to work with, and the only other thing we look at are absolute facts. So it's not about stories or about emotions. We go clearly by facts. Sometimes, most of the time, people are open to share it in the group, but many a times, if someone is not happy to share it with everyone, what we do is we would go out, and you can always talk to your facilitator in confidence personally and explain what the issue is. Now, once that has been established, like the issue has been spoken about, discussed, and information has been taken in, then as the client, what you do is, with the guidance of the facilitator, you're going to pick some people from that group. So for example, say if I'm working on my money issues, so I say that, I just can't attract money. So maybe facilitator says that out of the group of strangers that you're in, your constellation group, pick 3 people. One person will represent you, one person will represent your money that should come to you, that you want, and one person will represent your block. And from there on, the client is actually a very passive observer of the entire system. So there is no mental work that is required except for the fact to sit and watch. So what they will do is they will place these people into the floor. So in the room that we are working, as you see in the picture, this person will now go and place these 3 people who represent him, who represent his money, and who represent his block in that space. And he's going to just go and sit and watch. This is what we call as the diagnostics, wherein this initial placement by the client also tells a lot about the internal dynamics. It shows the inner image of what is going on. Many a times, these elements that we have put would actually switch into members of the family, issues in the family, exclusions in the family. Once they are placed, these people will move. There's going to be a flow of energy. Now, this field, let me talk about this field. What we call as the field is just the space. We call it the knowing field or the morphogenic field. So as remember how we described system. So system is an energy field which in which the members are connected. This is a field, for example, this holds all the information of the client's family, of multi-generations of the client's family. If there are any exclusions, if there are any traumas, anything. For anyone who wants to know more about it, you can look at Rupert Sheldrake and his research on morphic resonance. And if time permits, I can share more data on it. So we work through this knowing field. So this field is automatically there holding information. And people can actually step into the field and access that information. I know it sounds very intriguing and almost non-believable at times, but this is how it actually works. So these people who are there in your workshop with you, who are strangers to you, who do not know you, they become representatives of that energy of your family, of your ancestors, of your blocks. These are people, they are not role-playing. There is no script. So it's not that they're reading out of a script or they're role-playing. What they're doing is they're stepping into that role. And it is so incredible that sometimes not only can they express what that person or that position in the family, whoever holds it, is feeling mentally, but even they pick up on the physical sensation. So for example, if somebody has had a knee surgery, like someone's father, for example, say had a knee surgery, the person who is actually standing and representing the father would also feel that pain in the knee. So they are able to tap into that energy system and then they start to move. So that is what I call as the movement or the flow of energy. Sometimes it becomes necessary to bring in truth statements, which we call as our facts. And ultimately, this will move in a way that the constellation will show a resolution, or what we call as the harmonized picture of the issue that we are working on. How is it different when we do this one-on-one? So the process remains the same. Now, instead of people, we then don't have the luxury of, people walking in the class or in the room to make this movement. We use, as you see, we use small toys, or we use figurines. You could even use bottles or stones. The result is the same, whether you go for a workshop or whether you go for a one-on-one session. However, the experience is very, very different. When you experience it in a workshop, it is very profound in terms of how you experience. Why? Because it is just not your constellation. Of course, that is the most impactful and you will be able to take back that resolution picture. What happens is you will also be picked by other people to play different roles. And that is also extremely healing. So many a times when I do the workshops, I've had people who come up and said that I have no issues. I don't want to put a constellation, but can I just be there as a rep? Can I just be there as an observer? Even being in the space, even being just an observer, or even being a representative for somebody else is extremely healing. That is because you will resonate. It is not any coincidence that you will be picked up for certain roles which are relevant to your personal life. And you have to experience the magic of this knowing field to know that. Mostly we do get a resolution picture or an harmonized image, but there are times when constellation will also show that there is no resolution. And in those cases, what we say, so you see the difference is, it's not about, okay, I go and I solve this. This is about acceptance of what has gone missing. This is not a modality to say that I am carrying this and I just want to let it go. Many times, it also teaches us how to carry parts of us that we need to carry, but with grace, but with understanding. And that understanding and carrying that with grace is actually what unblocks. That is actually what breaks your recurring unhealthy patterns. So that's my best attempt to explain to you in terms of what happens physically. And from deep down my heart, I believe like you should experience it sometime or the other, because it is a profound experience in itself. Coming to the last part, and then of course I will open it up for question and answer. How do you know if family constellations is for you vis-a-vis any other modality? Again, if any of those questions which we are discussing right from the beginning, if they resonate with you, if you have identified a recurring pattern for yourself, if you are feeling blocked for unknown reasons, if you've been able to see similarities between you, your parents or your grandparents, or some situation that is kind of recurring, then definitely try family constellations. And if you have tried other modalities, if you have tried many other modalities, but irrespective of that, if you sometimes feel I'm still stuck, then definitely. That was my personal experience as well, and that's what brought me into this line of work. What do I, as a facilitator, look forward, or what do you look forward as a client or as a participant of family constellations? What will make it work? What will make it, give you the best healing experience? There are three things. First is the openness. Openness to look at what your system is showing you. Openness to, even if it sometimes takes time, to change probably aspects of ourselves, to let go of something, to carry something, but that's not important, and you can take your time to work through it. What is important is that there is no denial, or there is no rejection. So openness is very, very important. Then there should be this urge to change, that from inside, if you feel that this cannot continue like this, there needs to be a change in my life, and I can feel that fire inside me, then yes, definitely this is like the right ground for family constellations. And then the sense of urgency, this is related to the need. Like if there is an urgent need, like staying the way I am is no longer an option, or staying the way my relationships are is no longer an option, then definitely this is one modality for that you would that I would recommend that you definitely try. So that is all I can theoretically talk about family constellations. I will open up for questions. I am doing a workshop next Friday, not tomorrow, but the Friday after. If there's anything that resonates with you, you can please feel free to join me on the 11th. And I will open up for questions. So I will stop sharing my screen. And I will first look at the chat box and then going into the questions. So Willie says success, a block to success. Yeah. See, it's very important to also understand what I mean by success. So when you say success, Willie, please, in your mind, in your heart, know what you mean. See, for me, doing a webinar may mean success, and for someone else, earning multi-million dollars may mean success. So yes, it is very, very common that sometimes we feel that success doesn't come, like, that satisfaction doesn't come. And yes, family constellations work beautifully for that. Neetu, how do you know about entanglements? Entanglements, the symptom. First, you will know it through a symptom. Like, for example, if I'm not able to save money, this is a symptom for me. Now, how do I know if I'm entangled with somebody in the system? Constellation will definitely show. So when you put out the constellation, when, say, for example, if you're doing it in a workshop, you are sitting and you're going to watch. And the constellation will reveal the elements that we put into the system, into the field, will move, and it will show where the entanglement is. So entanglement could be, let me give an example. So I once had a client, if I remember correctly, yeah, he said that he couldn't attract good relationships, healthy relationships. So when we did the constellation, it showed that he had lost his father at a very early age. And because of the lack of presence of the father, what he had unconsciously, to be protecting the mother, to take care of the mother, he has actually overstepped the hierarchy that we are talking of, the rule of hierarchy, and he's taken the position of the father. How do we see this in the constellation? You will see that the role, the person who is playing the client and the person who is playing the mother, the client is completely focused on the mother, for example. Why? Because he's kind of taken that position that he needs to be the provider or the support or whatever is missing. Now, constellation will also show that the ideal partner is standing right beside this man, but the focus is not there. That is what we call an entanglement, when somebody has gone missing from the system and I will compensate. So constellation will show that to you, Neetu. Camellia, how many sessions are required to clear certain blocks? Thank you for raising this, Camellia. I forgot to mention, constellation is a one-shot modality. So unlike other modalities, like for example, I also practice transpersonal regression therapy and hypnotherapy, where you have multiple sessions. Same with counseling, with psychotherapy. Family constellations, when we do one session of family constellations, we do not do anything else. We leave some time for the energies to settle. So it's mostly you do it once and you let it settle. There are times, okay, I've seen it both as a client of family constellation as well as a facilitator. Sometimes it's miraculous. You do a constellation and within hours things shift and move. And I've also seen cases wherein it takes a little bit of time, and that time could be a few weeks, it could be a few months, or it could even be more than a year. It is very, very subjective. But what I'm trying to say is, you don't book family constellation sessions over like a week or over a month. It's very profound. It's very, very, as I say, it's like it moves from the level of your soul. So you have to give it some time to settle down. Let me know if I answered your question. If not, I will try to rephrase again. Vidhi, is it too deep and getting into the past is like digging old patterns? I don't know what you mean by deep or digging out patterns. So we don't go to dig. What we do is we place the issue on the floor, and the floor will then show the people who are participating, or even if you're doing one-on-one, if it's the figurines that we work with or piece of paper that we work with, it will reveal the pattern. It will show who is involved in the pattern. It will show who has gone missing. It will show, for example, many a times when you have adoptions in the family, it will bring, for example, if there's an adopted child and if the parents, the biological parents of the adopted child has gone unnoticed, they will bring that adopted parent's presence. So it is the unfolding, Vidhi. We do not have to dig. We do not have to go after any conscious understanding. We have to leave it to the knowing field, and the people who are participating, they will be able to pick up and demonstrate it. Hima, how can the participants help identify the missing element in your system if you don't know it yourself, like the unborn uncle or aunt? Yes, Hima, that is the beauty of it, because most of the time we will not know. Why? Because what we know, we solve it. How this happens is the constellation will show. So for example, the example I gave of this gentleman who was entangled with the unborn child is because he did not know that he had an uncle or an aunt, a sibling from who's elder to his mother. Now, in constellations, there are certain ways to understand if entanglement is with, for example, a dead person. There are signs and signals which, as a facilitator, the facilitator will pick up and will go back to the client to check on facts. And even sometimes when facts are not available, if we place another representative in that spot, because something is missing, constellation will show at which area something is missing, the energy will flow there. And when we place it through questions and through truth statements, we are able to identify. We may not know the gender, we may not know the stories, because sometimes I gave you an example of just one generation. Sometimes this is like maybe 3 generations, maybe 4 generations before us. we have no understanding, we have no stories even to, you know, corroborate, but constellation will pick it up and show that one generation, two generation, three generations. So that is the beauty of a workshop, because, you know, you can use people to stand up on those missing elements and they will represent it. You must attend Hima to experience it. Fatima says, thank you. Selena, which one would you recommend, suggest, group or individual sessions? How many needed? Selena, I would definitely recommend at least one group session for you to feel the dynamics, to feel the energy, and you will see the movement of the soul, as we say, you know, how the energy moves. Having said that, I repeat that as far as the results are concerned, there is no difference. The result will still be the same, but your experience will be very, very different. So if you haven't done family constellations, if you ask me personally, my view is do one workshop, and from there on you decide. How many sessions? One. Family constellation, no bulk bookings, just one. Do one and see what comes up. Give it time. Sometimes, you know, even after months or weeks of constellation, some new information will come to you and you will be able to relate. And that last tweak will happen where your block and where your pattern gets broken. So one, just begin with one. That's the beauty of this line of work. Arpita, I have another Arpita. Yes. Oh, I lost your question. 1 second. How many sessions? As I said, I think that's the most favorite question. Start with one. Start with one. There is no need to book anything. And in fact, when I do, for example, if I'm working with a person, I will not see you in the next few days or weeks for sure, because you know what happens if we do multiple is we will not allow the energies to settle, and actually I'm going to dilute the experience for you. So one, answer is one. Yes, sometimes, having said that, you know, issues come up in layers, so you can work with the same issue. I have worked myself as well, and I've seen my fellow colleagues sometimes work when the issue, it's like peeling an onion, but you're not going to do it back to back. You're going to do one, you want to wait, you want to watch what changes come in. There are learnings. Sometimes it even takes us time to take that image, that last image. So one and then thereafter, but not immediately, never. Can you tackle multiple problems in one session? Sorry for all the questions. No, Selena, don't be sorry. I'm here to answer all the questions. That's the purpose of the webinar. Multiple problems? Yes. You know, you should begin with one. So even if, for example, someone comes and say, I have this, I would suggest one. Like begin with one. Now, that one may impact many others. So, but when we start, we don't start with money and career and relationship and XYZ. So you can start with one, but many a times I've seen the shifts happen at different levels. Question answered. Thank you, Hima. You found it fascinating. Do you do it virtually? Shahida, yes, I do it virtually. It will be like a one-on-one. So if I'm working with you virtually, then yes, I would have small toys or figurines, or you would have them. And instead of the group channeling for us, so I haven't done yet a group workshop with people like we are in the webinar, but yeah, one-on-one virtually is absolutely possible, and I'm doing it for ever since the lockdown and the COVID happened. I think I've done a lot of them, so it's possible virtually, definitely. How it works is exactly the same way. So instead of people channeling and people tapping into that energy, you and I do it. So we move from one position. So if there are 3 figurines or 3 dolls, we move from one to other to the other. Same way. Experience wise, it's different, but result wise, you will still, the hidden dynamics will still be shown. Can you tackle multiple problems? I answered that. Arpita says, how do we know which one is the most important one? You will know. If you just close your eyes and think of all the 3 problems, all the 10 problems, all the 5 problems, you will know which one to pick. And you will know at that time also. When you are starting your constellation, you will know. I have seen many times people have said after the workshop that, you know, I thought I would have worked on my career, but as I was going through the constellation, as I was representing others, I felt my urgency shifted to something else. So it is your inner knowing, Arpita. You will know what to ask for, which one to go for. I've tried to answer all, but if I have missed anyone, just let me know. I'm more than happy to continue and answer. Sarah, with one workshop, will we be able to apply it to other people? Sarah, are you talking of, what do you mean by applying? The workshop is a healing workshop. The workshop is not to teach how to do family constellations. So what happens after the workshop is you come in as a participant and you heal. Whatever issue that you want to work with, we are going to be working on that. Applying to others as a therapist, no, because if you aspire to become a family constellations constellator, then definitely you will have to go through a course. I can send you the details later, but workshop is only for your own healing. As I would say, I would say you do it for yourself. If it resonates with you, then go and do the course. This is what I did as well. Like I went as a participant first, and it fascinated me, and that's when I studied. It takes a little more than a year to complete. There are many levels. It is taught in Illuminations, and yeah, you can do it if that is what you mean by apply it to others. Now, if you mean will the healing apply to others? Yes, it does, because remember, we are part of a system. So when I heal, I am connected to my children, I'm connected to my family, I'm connected to my spouse. So the healing will happen through the system, if that was your question. Okay. Any other questions? Any comments? I was looking for the first answer. No, this is not a training workshop. This is a family constellation, as you can call it, as a healing workshop, and also for you to experience it. It's not training. Thank you, Munira. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Camelia. Thank you. The number of participants, Sarah, we generally do it in a group of 10, but right now we have, I don't think we could do 10 or 12 easily, but I think we have restrictions now due to social distancing, and the numbers we can, I think it's anywhere between 6 to 10. Illuminations will be able to tell us. And that's good enough. I've just done one last month and it was really good. So anywhere between 6 to 10 is what it is right now. It could go up to 10 or 11 maximum. And yeah, because see, it's a workshop. It's like a full day workshop from 10 to 6 in the evening, and each one of the participants would do their constellation. So it takes time. Camelia says, very interesting. Is there a workshop happening? Yes, it is happening. A workshop is next Friday on 11th. I will request Illuminations to send you all the details. So yeah, if this intrigues you, please come and join. It's fascinating. Just on next Friday. So not tomorrow, the next Friday. Sarah says, so for each participant, you will repeat the exercise, or would you contemporarily heal? I don't understand your question, Sarah. Yeah, each participant will come up and there will be a constellation for each participant. So it's not a group healing. You heal, of course, by being, present in the room. You heal by representing others, but you will also get an opportunity to do your own constellation. So it is very much customized. So for example, if I had 7 people last time, so there were 7 constellations that were held. And these 7 people also participated in each other's constellation. So it is a group healing, but it is also personal because you're going to work on your constellation as well. Okay. Timings of the workshop is 10 to 6. So we start at 10 in the morning and we finish by 6 o'clock. It's a full day workshop. I will have the details mailed to you as well, or they'll send a WhatsApp with if you have any information. And what I will also do is, you're welcome. I'm just going to share my number as well. Just in case, if you have any questions, you can either contact me or you can contact Illuminations. And if there are more questions later, I'm more than happy to answer that for you. And I look forward to seeing you next Friday. Thank you, Hima. So I'm going to be here for the next few moments, for a few minutes more. If you have any questions, you can ask me. And if you don't have any questions, then I wish you a very good evening and a wonderful weekend. Okay, so you have the class link here. I think Illuminations has put it up. If you click on this workshop, on the link for the workshop, the last link, that's where you can register. And in any case, I am pretty sure they will contact you with the information. Shahida, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. And I am glad you found it informative. Thank you, Camellia. You too. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Gail. Yeah, thank you so much. Welcome. I enjoyed it as well. As I said, it's a very close topic to my heart, and it's just my pleasure to bring it to you all. Yes, Selena, thank you to you too. And yes, it is extremely fascinating, and it's way more fascinating when you experience it. I don't think words can do justice to it. But yeah, that is what it is. Bye, Sarah. Take care. Yes, I'll speak to you soon. Thank you, Grace. Yeah, here's the information once again from Illumination. So you can have a look at that. Thank you, Pia, if that's you from Illuminations. Thanks for all the support. I'll be here if there are any other questions till everyone leaves. I don't think there are any more questions, Pia, so maybe I can say bye and thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Pia. I think we can close now. Thanks for the support. Take care. And whoever is here, just bye. Have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself.